like to invite each one of you to take a couple minutes, tell us about who you are, for those of you who haven't gotten to know you better, and your organization or your job, and what that's about and how that helps our businesses grow. Please, go ahead, Natalie.
Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. My name is Natalie Fanny Gonzalez. And before I begin, I would like to recognize my colleague, Councilmember Gabe Albornoz, who's also sitting in the back.
Oh, there's Gabe.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We can see you, Gabe. If you were trying to hide, I caught you. So, again, my name is Natalie Fanny Gonzalez. I am a council member for District 6, which is the area between Forest Glen and Aspen Hill. I am also the chair of the Economic Development Committee, as mentioned by our council president, Evan Glass. This committee was created by him, really, when he took over as council president, so I really thank him for the opportunity and for his leadership of making sure the economic development is front and center in Montgomery County, as it should have been a long time ago. For background, I was a member of the planning board, which is the Maryland National Capital Parking Planning Commission, so I have a background on economic development, on transportation infrastructure, and so on, and that's how I ended up being chair of the Economic Development Committee. I live in Wheaton with my family, and I'm gonna leave it there so everybody else can introduce themselves.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Anthony Featherstone, and I serve as the Executive Director for WorkSource Montgomery and Montgomery County's local Workforce Development Board. I think we have a few board members in the room, WorkSource or Workforce, if you could just raise your hands. So shout out to all of you. We appreciate you coming. What our organization does as the lead workforce entity in the county is I think, pretty simple in how we explain it. We ensure that our residents have access to high-quality training programs that lead to career pathways. But to do that, we need to make sure that we're working with you, our local businesses, to make sure we understand your needs today and tomorrow so that we're developing a workforce that meets your needs. And so I'm excited to be on this panel. I'm excited for the summit. I'm sorry that when we're done, I have to run right out. Our state workforce conference is today. So you've got people all across the state that are talking about how to serve you better, but I'm definitely looking forward to this discussion. Thank you.
Buenos dias, good morning. I'm Bill Tompkins, President and CEO of the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. We're happy to be here, not just today, but all year. And what we focus on is equitable economic growth, not just growth for a few, but we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to grow their businesses here. For us, it's all about jobs. And realistically speaking, even though our unemployment rate is at historically low levels, we're not growing enough jobs in Montgomery County. So we've got to really dig hard and reach out to more businesses. As you heard the county executive earlier talk about the positive aspects of Montgomery County, because it is about the best it can be, and we don't do enough to tell that story and to reinforce the successes of people in this room. Councilmember Fanny Gonzalez is also a former business person. So she made it here big time, not just planning, she's been elected. So we have lots of success stories here, and we want to make sure that we understand how people were successful so that we can help you to do the same.
Thank you. Thank you for that, and I'm just going to say I worked with Bill on the Economic Development Corporation board for 6 years and learned quite a bit about things that I brought in. I hope I brought in some viewpoints from the small business area in Montgomery County, but also learned quite a bit about what we need in this county to continue to be prosperous. So thank you very much for that. Okay, so my first question is going to be to Natalie, and I'm going to, people can, we'll have some questions that are general, but right now I'm just going to say some pointed questions. So Natalie, I know that you have sponsored a bill, or, I guess you guys, it's a bill, right? So everybody knows what a bill is, right? So you sponsored a bill to get rebates going, right? It's a rebate program. And could you tell us about that, please, and what that entails?
Well, the bill is actually the electric leaf blower legislation that actually came from the county executive to the county council. And when that bill came to us, I'm truly an environmentalist, but I also understand that the landscaping industry is really dominated by the Latino and immigrant community. And it sounds great to go from gas to electric, but if we don't have a program that sustains and supports the workers that serves this industry, I have an issue, because I don't want to get people out of their jobs. So I said, when the legislation came in front of us on the county council back in March, I said that I wasn't going to vote for it until we have a strong rebate program that will support those companies that are already working on this field. Okay, so we tabled the bill, and now, so the county executives team really heard the message loud and clear. We're not moving forward with this until we have this rebate program. I mean, a leaf blower that is electric can cost you about $1,500 easily. That's a lot of money for businesses, because I mean, if you're in this industry, the margins that you're making are very tiny. Okay, you're not making millions of dollars. So I think it is a responsibility, if we're gonna say that we're gonna, ensure that we have this climate action plan that I support, we need to ensure that we're also responsible to support businesses that are in this industry so they don't go out of business. So long story short, the county executives team put together a plan. I went through it over this weekend. And after I read it, they actually are making a pretty strong recommendation of providing, so far, it's just a proposal, it will be at least half the price, the rebate will be half the price of the actual equipment. And part of the requirement will be that if you have a gas leaf blower as a business, you're gonna have to, turn it in as part of the requirements, so we can also be assured that you're going to use an electric one, because that's the whole goal, not to use gas. And so that's going to be discussed very soon. I contacted our council president, who's sitting right in front of me, who controls the agenda, and I said, at least I'm ready to bring back this piece of legislation to the county council, and my understanding is that it's coming very soon for discussion again. But again, the point is to understand that, yes, we have a vision to ensure that we embrace our responsibility in terms of protecting the planet, protecting us as human beings, but we also have a responsibility to ensure that our businesses are protected, that they have what they need to keep, hiring folks and do what they do. So that's what that is about. I hope I answered.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess a question would be, just quickly, so is this the bill would be applicable for businesses, or can a Harry homeowner also go in and get a rebate?
Right now, the target is both, but to have the biggest rebate, you gotta be a small business.
Okay, great.
So that's the requirement.
So it's for small business, not for a large,
If you want the large rebate, you have to be a small business. And prove that you have a need to continue working on this field, but you need this assistance so you can continue your work while being environmentally sound.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So one of the things I see, and then we're going to pass it on to Anthony, one of the things that I see in the businesses and the landscaping community and construction and the trades is, especially the newer companies as they grow, an understanding of what is the value of having an employee versus a 1099, right? So a lot of our businesses say, well, why don't I just, have a 1099, I give them a check, go away, And there are many different options. And I say, it costs me more money to have an employee, so why should I have that? Well, it doesn't really cost you more money. There's a lot of benefits to having an employee, besides building a business that helps you grow and people who represent you well. But in looking at the cost of it, there's a lot of problems that happen. So I'm going to ask Anthony, because he's in workforce, there's benefits, right, to having employees versus 1099 or having a hybrid of that. What can the county do to help us get good staff for our small businesses without costing us a lot to go out and find these people and bring them on?
Yeah, sure, and great question. So the county offers a lot by way of helping businesses find employees, whether they're W-2 or 1099. And so it's as basic as having a conversation and understanding what your needs are and putting on a large scale or small scale hiring event. We have a team of business solutions consultants that will be an extra set of eyes and ears for you out on the streets trying to help find and vet talent. And so it starts at a basic level and being an extension of your human resources department. But we understand either way that there's a cost associated with onboarding an employee. And so what we've tried to do as a workforce board and an organization is be responsive to those needs and understanding that it affects your bottom line to have turnover and to hire and train and recruit and so forth. And so what our board and organization have done is create several grant programs in response to those needs. We have a grant relief for onboarding workers program, which is a grant that provides up to $5,000 to assist with the onboarding and training cost of a new employee. We know that apprenticeship is a buzzword right now and is a true solution to workforce talent pipeline issues. And we're going to release a Grow Apprenticeship grant in the near future as well. And I think, one thing that's still a little, I think, mystified about workforce development, I think not just in the county, in the state, is that we only assist with helping you find trained and reliable candidates, but we can also help you train and upskill your incumbent workforce as well. And so our organization is happy to have those conversations to figure out how you can make your current workforce more marketable. We'll share in a one-to-one match in those costs to upskill your workforce, whether it's professional development, whether they need any type of certification, whether there's a new technology that's getting ready to be released and you'll need to train your workforce on that. We're happy to share in those conversations and those costs to help you train and upskill your incumbent workforce as well.
Thank you. And, if somebody wanted to know more about those grants and those opportunities, do you have people here that can answer those questions after our meeting that I was out there? Or should they call your office, or how would they get a hold of somebody to explain to them how those things work?
So absolutely. Ruthie and Eva are here. So
they're there, okay, they're there.
Please rush them after or in between or after the event. But you can also give us a call. You can check out our website. We've tried to cut through as much tape as we can for you to access these funds. We don't want you to have to hire an administrative assistant to access the support that you need to train and hire your incumbent workforce. And so please talk to us in between and afterward, or connect with us online or by phone, or whatever the case may be.
Okay, thank you. And then I have a question for Bill. This is Bill Tompkins he's the CEO of the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation. I feel I have to say all that because I used to be on the board, so I have to say that, right? So I have to repeat it. So, Bill, as you move forward in looking at Montgomery County and how to, make sure that we have all the things we need to grow in the community that is vibrant, what are the opportunities that you see happening in the near future and maybe not a little bit further on, in terms of jobs that are contracts that are related to the building trade industry in the county? So could you tell us a little bit about what opportunities seem to be coming down the pike, or what new projects are coming down the pike?
Sure. Let me give you a quick landscape of things that are in the pipeline. Some are coming to closure, some are just getting started. So let's start up with Lake Forest Mall. That is going to be an incredible redevelopment exercise from the ground up. It's going to be huge. We have an investor, a developer from Florida, who's come in to this market for the first time. You move down to a project that is underway now. Take a look at Twin Brook Quarter, mixed-use development. Move down to White Flint. A lot of exciting things still happening there. Even though you've got Pike and Rose there, you've probably read a lot about the Institute for Health Computing, which was the mastermind of the county executive. They just leased about 27,000 square feet of temporary space, but there's going to be a whole new building and development that is going to be built across from the, right next to the metro station there at White Flint. You talk about White Flint itself, it hasn't even gotten started, but the learners have a great master plan for that. You keep moving through the county. Let's go over to Silver Spring, Hillendale Gateway. They just put up the fence to get that project started. Up the street from there, you go to the White Oak Town Center, and we are going to figure out what to do with that Sears building in White Oak. You know, it's been a tough challenge, but something's going to happen there. Then you've also got Viva White Oak, which is on the east part of the county. It's been sitting there for a while, but there's beginning to be a little bit of activity that is percolating. So you have lots of things happening across the county. For some higher end jobs in life sciences, which is our bread and butter along 270, we've got about 2 million square feet of life sciences space, wet labs as they're quite often called, that have come to completion, with more buildings on the way, especially up near the universities at Shady Grove. So there are all kinds of pockets that are happening. Some basically, you have another building in about 2 weeks. The headquarters, the new headquarters for Sodexo and Choice Hotels will open on Rockville Pike at Pike and Rose. So there are things going on all over the county, and we are also working on a project in Wheaton at Glenmont. So that's been a tough one because we've had 14 different owners in one shopping center. But we're getting there. We have a developer coming in from New York who has bought up almost all of the ownership there, and that's going to be completely redone, hopefully sooner rather than later. So lots of activity happening. It's tempered a little bit about what's happening with interest rates, so some things are going to take time to build out, but there's still a lot of activity in the marketplace today.
Yeah. So what do you think, Natalie, about this? I know you've been involved and looking at it, and you're all excited about it. So tell us about how that's going to be great and impactful.
I love following up from Bill's comments and also yours, because Montgomery County is such an amazing place to live and do business. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. We have an amazing quality of life here, and we gotta continue working together to make it even better for the next generation. And when I say the next generation, I don't mean old people like me, because I feel like I'm old. I'm a millennial, but I'm like one of those old millennials. I was born in the 80s. But I'm thinking about people my age. The first session that I have in my committee in economic development was actually talking about the performance of third graders in elementary school, the math and reading. This pandemic hit us so hard, especially on our children, especially. And I mean, if you see their math scores, I have 2 little kids around those ages. Yeah. Now they're in 5th and 6th grade. But they are the future of this county, and making sure that they're ready to take on those jobs, not just going to college, because I'm all about, getting kids to college. I went to college, but I had 2 brothers who did not go to college, and they make more money than me, way more. They have their own businesses. So understanding that Montgomery County needs to have this mentality of continuing to offering, workforce development and training, constant training, it's key. And giving opportunities for that. And we want to be the #1 place in the nation of life sciences. And we will be. We will end up there. But for that to happen, we need to make sure that our kids have what they need to get into those jobs. And the jobs that actually assist on the life sciences. I'm thinking about the tech jobs, right? The mechanics, manufacturing, all the good stuff that we need to be doing. On the development area, we have a lot of developments coming up. Bill already pointed out many of them, but also we have challenges. As much as I love to say that we're an amazing county, we have our challenges. The council president, Glass, mentioned the session that we had on Monday on the office market. I mean, we have buildings that are empty, not just in Montgomery County, nationwide. And everybody needs to be alarmed by it, because it's not just the vacancy rate, as Council President Glass mentioned, but it's how many people are actually in the building. Let me give you an example. The parking planning headquarters in Wheaton, that was my building when I was the vice chair of the planning board. Beautiful building. Half of it is empty. It's completely occupied because it's all government aid companies, but it's empty.
Yeah.
And that affects all the restaurants around it, affects our quality of life in the neighborhood, and it's bad. So making sure, so the next step, and very quickly, after the session that we had on Monday that was very, very important, we are gonna, as a committee, we're gonna put our heads together and come up with out-of-the-box ideas on how we can incentivize either having people coming back into the buildings, or even if it's an office building that is empty and you're not, the office market has changed because now there's a lot of people work, from home. Then how can we help them to convert onto housing or anything else? That has to be the conversation. It's gonna be a tough conversation, but that will lead to jobs in the construction sector, on the manufacturing sector, and so on.
Well, I know, thank you. You always have so many exciting things to say. So I would say that, I'm not going to get into that discussion, but I do know that there are different viewpoints on that, and so there's different forces. But if I wanted to, and one of them is hiring people and getting them on jobs and things like that, I want to know a little bit, Anthony, if you spoke about the grants and opportunities to help people get onboarded. How do I, if I was looking for a receptionist that was bilingual, would I be able to reach out to you? Or if I was looking for a computer programmer, would I be able to reach out for you? What are those things that WorkSource Montgomery is good at, and what are they not? I mean, if I'm looking for some electricians or techs to add to my stuff, would I contact you, or is it just administrative kind of work? Or because that's a lot of the questions people have. Why would I reach out to WorkSource Montgomery, and for what kinds of jobs?
Sure, and so I would say you can reach out to us for the entire range of jobs, whether it's for an administrative position all the way up to a position that requires a terminal degree. We serve all of Montgomery County, and to meet your needs, we serve the region as well. And so we do a lot of targeted events and recruitment, and we always work inside out, but our ultimate goal is to meet your need and find a Montgomery County resident that's trained and reliable to work in those positions that you're recruiting for. But I'll tell you this, when we have our hiring fairs for you all, not just Montgomery County residents show up. We have people all across the region that show up. And so we'll be very intentional and deliberate about finding someone for you. Of course, always working inside and out, but it can range from terminal degree positions, or if there's something more entry level and so forth.
Yeah.
And we don't promise, I'll never sit up here and promise you that we can help you fill every single position that you come to us for. That's just not something that we do. But what we do promise is effort and understanding what your needs are, and having our team of business service consultants attack the market so that we can find folks to help you meet your needs.
Okay, just one question for Bill, one last question for Bill. You told us about some wonderful projects that are coming up. So if I sit back and I'm in the general contractor business or in the trades business, hello, okay. How do I know what of these projects, who's the prime contractor, or who do I reach out to get the job? I mean, that's, one of the things is, one thing is going over to the public sector and saying, what are the procurements that are coming up? But the private sector doesn't always, you have to register on their website and maybe see, and one of the big complaints that we have is we reach out, nobody answers, and so, and I know you can't speak to the great general contractors that are, some of them are here, but how do I know, maybe you guys can tell us, who holds these contracts, and how can I reach out to them?
Well, you've got the public sector and the private sector, and I'm sorry Ash Shetty is not here, but when you talk about the public sector, permitting does, I'm sorry, not permitting, but procurement does an outstanding job of having open houses, bringing people in so that you can figure out what's available, how to do business with the government. And then there's some low-hanging fruit. The Montgomery County Business Center, which is really focused on especially small businesses. They have their feet and ears to the ground about things going on all over the county in terms of active jobs, in terms of active activities that are going on, and they're also in the regional service centers. If you don't know about your regional service center, there are 5 in Montgomery County. They have their ears to the ground in terms of what's going on in the community. For those of you who are in contracting, I hope you're involved with the Supplier Diversity Network, which not only works on training to make sure that you are well qualified to apply for contracts and to do business, but it's also another great networking opportunity. I wish I could say there's a big job board or lead board, but it's being at events like this, it's connecting with professional trade associations and just keeping an eye on what's going on.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've talked about in the chamber is, wouldn't it be nice if the county would meet with the larger developers or contractors or general contractors and provide them with an online site that they can post their opportunities on if they so choose, at least to make that motion easier, right? You could have something out there that, you know, sometimes the general contractors have a hard time finding the small business or the even workforce. I know Anthony's doing a lot with you, but the small businesses don't know where to go until you reach out to them. And I'm not just pointing at you, but no. But I think if the county would facilitate that, it would be a great thing, because one thing is having to go to all these events, but the other thing is being able to know that the county has this website for economic development where the general contractors can post their opportunities if they so choose. I know there's a lot of different websites out there, but you know, you go to all these ones and you post the Plan Hub and whatever. It would be nice to have a county-sponsored one.
I think that's a great idea. And I know, coming from the planning board, obviously, all the major every single development project, it's on the planning website, right? But that can be very confusing for people if you're not really familiar with all the technicalities. I'm gonna look into it and get back to you to see who can, which department could host it. Even Bill mentioned the Small Business Center, and they are doing a great job, and they have people who speak Spanish, by the way, working there and meeting with businesses one-on-one. But that's something that I can follow up with you and bring up.
That would be great, because you know, it's great to come to events like this, and you have to do it sometime because you want to get your face known. But when you're working hard, gosh, it's hard to fit in all these things, right? So having an online system to put it on, I think the general contractors would benefit as well, and it would be a place where you could do that. I know there's a sense of competitiveness, but when you post it, you don't have to say what project necessarily. You just say, we have these kinds of things happening. So thank you very much. I want to mention, I know we didn't have Ash with us or Alvin with us, so it's kind of too bad. But I do want to mention that the procurement center in Montgomery County is available for people to reach out. And Alvin Boss represents the minority disadvantaged female program, which is a subcontracting opportunity, and the county has made a commitment that when they issue a contract, that they will have some subcontracting goals that they want to meet. So that is an MDF. It's called the MDF thing. If the contract has state money, they need to also meet MBE requirements. That's a state certification for minority businesses from the state. And if it has federal money, they may also have to meet the DBE. I know it's the alphabet soup, right? But DBE certification, which is Disadvantaged Business Entity Certification, as it's known as DBE, is when there are federal funds involved and they have to meet those requirements, right?
And just very quickly, let's not forget that there's a lot of money in MCPS, the
Right.
Montgomery County Public School System, that they have their own procurement program. They had to sign up through them. And we also have the Maryland National Capital Parking Planning Commission that also has its own contracting office.
Yeah,
So
and
keep
they
that
could
in
be
mind.
on the website with
Yes.
the general contractors. You could add them in, and MCEDC also, they could add in the procurements in that site, because then that's a non-government site kind of thing, but it benefits the government. So I want to have the opportunity for 2 questions from the public that they want to have. If anybody has a question to any of our folks. No? No questions? Okay, I want to then mention that we are proud to have hosted the Rebuilding Montgomery, Rebuilding Together Montgomery. Thank you.
Oh, that's Nancy Florin, our former council member.
And Nancy Florin is the chair of the board right now. I think we re-elected her as chair of the board because she's done such a great job. Thank you. And the reason I want to mention them is because if we have people who are not able to maintain their homes as they get older or they have a disability, you can apply for help from volunteers and also professional people to come over and help you fix your heater, your roof, your wall that's crumbling, or your electrical wiring. And so I want to thank Rebuilding Together Montgomery for doing that job, and I want to thank the county for providing them with some funds to help them do that. And for those of you who didn't know, there's a Rebuilding Together Montgomery table out there, so I want to say that. Thank you. And any questions for anybody else here? Because then we're going to come to a close. Okay, I want to thank each and every one of you for making the time to join us today.